Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Sometimes it seems to me that these guys in charge of us are, how should I put it, infantile. And it seems like they didn't think, that means they didn't plan, that the Russians might hit them back somehow. I think that these guys, when the whole thing started in Ukraine, thought that in a few weeks, maybe few days, Russia will collapse economically, militarily, politically. It didn't happen. On the contrary, Russia hit back economically, politically, and militarily. Why do I say that? Well, economically, obviously found a big market out there in the rest of the world to sell its oil and do economic partnership with various countries. There's a big world out there. These guys thought that they are the center of the universe. Well, that's another, delusional, ideological worldview, which makes you make mistakes. Now, what did they do politically? Politically, they formed a second club. They get out of the plantation, US's plantation, and they have a second club. So they will divide the world in two. Militarily, they didn't collapse. On the contrary, they have the possibility to fuck everybody up. And this is exactly what this article is about. They seem to be surprised that the Russians are going to deploy ICBMs somewhere else. And they're all surprised. And it's not about, Kinzhal or this kind of... No, that's intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's why the intercontinental ballistic missiles. This is what they're going to deploy. And they were like, oh my God, you can't do that. You're crazy. What do you expect? You threw at Russia almost everything but the kitchen sink. You didn't throw at Russia nuclear weapons, attack from the submarines or ships, warships, and 100% or, how to put it differently, troops on the ground. Everything else, I think these guys are involved with control and command centers, planning, satellites. They're going to receive everything, long-range missiles, tanks, airplanes. What's missing? Nuclear weapons and chemical weapons, but they say they don't have them because they agreed with the Russians a while ago. We don't have them, we get rid of them. Keep those over there for safekeeping, okay? Both of them. Do you think it's only the Americans that keep them away? And if they keep them, they can create it like this in what? In a month, they're going to have a stockpile that is going to take years to get rid of. So, what's going on here? We have Ukrainska Pravda, and it says that Putin intimidates Ukraine and the world with super heavy ICBMs again, promising to deploy them on combat duty. So what did you expect? What did you expect? I tell you what they expected. What I said before, plus how they expected a quick job on the Russians. Like for instance, yes, those guys that they were brought to democracy and freedom. What's their name? Oh, Iraqis. And who else? Oh, the Syrians too. Oh, the Libyans, the Serbs, and who was the last one? The Afghanis. All those guys were pop, woohoo, we're good, man, let's go. Well, punk, not even. So anyway, you can't... I was about to give you an example, and that would have been very inappropriate with this pam. It's like she's got the underwear still on. So let's go here. If you're strong enough, I guess you can produce some damage. All right, so here it is. This guy, Russian dictator. Oh, now he's dictator. These guys are strange. Sometimes they call this guy this dictator, sometimes they call him president of the Russian Federation. Now, make up your freaking mind right here, president of Russia, in this article. Okay, why not dictator of Russia? Because I think this comes from somewhere else. But anyway, let's move on with this one. So, Vladimir Putin, the dictator, boasted of the latest weapons in the Russian armed forces during a meeting with military graduates, has once again resorted to threats of putting new Sarmat launchers with a new super heavy intercontinental ballistic missile ICBM on combat duty. So, who says he can't do that? Do you think he gives up right now at this point? What are they gonna do? Nothing! You should have thought it through before Ukraine started, baby doll. Quote from Putin, dictator Putin. Hey, the first launchers for the Sarmat system with a new heavy missile will be on combat duty shortly. Details. During a similar meeting last year, Putin, dictator Putin, also promised to put the Sarmat missiles on combat duty by the end of 2022. However, no such thing happened. Here is the whole thing. I don't see a lot of diversity here, but hey, who cares? Let's move on. There must be weak, because you know, diversity is our strength. These are not too diverse, so that means they're weak. The head of the aggressor country. Ooh, you're outdoing yourself today, Ukrainska Pravda. Dictator and the aggressor country. You need to put here some word terrorists and war criminals, and we're good. So the aggressor country bragged that Russian Navy had commissioned the Borei A project lead submarine, and the frigate admiral of the Soviet Union's fleet, Gorshkov, went on combat duty in January 2023. So what, they're supposed to what? Keep it a secret or something? Or say what? Oh, we're sorry, we don't want to intimidate you. He also said that, and I'm quoting, the weapons of the Russian nuclear triad make it possible to effectively and reliably ensure strategic deterrence and maintain the global balance of power. So he's talking about deterrence here. Like, you know, the Americans when in the Middle East, I have an article ready for you guys, where the Americans bring more weapons and more troops over there to deter any attacks on them. Oh my God, I can make shit up, man. So Putin has claimed that about half of Russia's strategic missile forces units, SMFR, are equipped with the latest YARS thermonuclear ICBMs, and that SMFR is already being rearmed with modern missile systems with a hypersonic warhead called Avangard. So I'm just looking here to see if I find any terrorist or any war crimes. I didn't find this one. So thank you very much. All right. So Sarmat is a Russian strategic missile system equipped with an intercontinental ballistic missile. The Russians claim that due to its features, it is capable of overcoming all existing missile defense systems and is considered to be the weapon with the world's longest range. So that means they can send it towards, let's say, east, and they see it coming through west after it circumvented the globe. So, my friends, or went around it, how you want to say it. This is one little thing that these ideologues and people who are really deluded did not take into consideration. They thought, we're going to fuck them up. The first round of sanction will do it. And it didn't. Let's go with the next one. Oh, this time the ruble is going to collapse. Nothing. Kick them out of SWIFT. Kick them. Nothing. Freeze their assets. Nothing. Or put an embargo on their gas, oil, whatever. Nothing. Or nothing, whatever they expected. And they just approved Brussels the 11th round of, how do you call them, sanctions against Russia. 11th. So they tried 10 times. And these things bite Europe more than Russia. These guys are just, I don't know if they're criminals or what. I mean, to do it to yourself like that? I mean, sometimes we do certain things to ourselves, but not to create pain, unless, you know, you're masochist. And I think these guys are just, they don't care because they don't get hurt. The people who make these decisions, their lives are not altered. That's why they can come and tell us this, and they're going to do this, and they're going to implement. Their income increases, their power increases. They think they're very important. They're like, I know right now it's Adolf, what's his name, Churchill, and other weasels over there, Joseph, and you can remember Churchill's first name, Jesus Christ. Winston. Okay, so it's Adolf, Winston, Joseph, and the other one, Delano Franklin, or the other weasel if you want. So, Jesus Christ, they didn't anticipate the Russians going to be able to smack them down? No. That means a poor assessment of reality. That means you are living in an alternate reality. They didn't figure out that the Chinese, the Indians, the BRICS countries will support them. The Africans, some countries in Africa and South America will be on, you know, we're not going to jump on this hysteria. No, they didn't think so. Or they thought they would have enough power to make them. By their remember the four, how do you call them, diplomatic tools that they have, diplomacy, threats, blackmail, a little regime change and a straightforward bringing democracy and freedom, Iraq style, boom, all right? And it didn't work so far. And they're like, what the hell? On the contrary, look what the Arabs are doing. And I'm talking about United Arab Emirates. Look about Saudi Arabia. Look what happens with those guys. They're running away. Look what happens in the Middle East. Get, if you want Turkey, get Iran or Iran. Syria, all these guys come together. And these guys are bad planning. And that's because they were delusional based on their ideology and, I think, self-importance. We are here the most important. Yeah, you are the most important, but not that important. As I always give you this analogy. It's like, I don't know, someone leaves you, your girlfriend or your wife, and say, well, without me, you're going to be dying. What? Oh, yeah, okay, that's a whole world out there. You're one. What are you talking about? Yeah, you're going to be dying, you're going to cry after me, you're going to... Okay, maybe, but that's a whole world out there. You think you're too important. The same here. These guys, if we kick them out of SWIFT, we're going to win. Yeah, give me 5 here, blah, 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 blah. That's how they did it. Look what happened in Munich with all those weasels when... what's his name? Boris Johnson was still over there with a weasel from Canada. That Jesus Christ. And all those guys were all like, hey, we're here. We're going to take care of them. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. But they did it for the camera. They're very important. They think the history books were going to reveal how strong, the tough they were against the evil Russians, dictator, and so on. Jesus Christ. These are kids. These are lost in their delusional world. And Russia does what it does best. Being, how should I put it, doing what it says it will do. Putin said it's going to do this evil thing, it will do it. Putin said he's going to do this thing, did it. Well, consistent, good or bad. And these guys, hey, how come they're not done yet? Because you assess the situation with your ideology, in a framework of your ideology. With the best, they are losers. We're just going to do like this to everyone. Desperation will kick in soon if it's not already there. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.